Nobody has any idea where these people are coming from. And we know they come from prisons. We know they come from mental institutions, insane asylums. We know they're terrorists. Nobody has ever seen anything like we're witnessing right now. It is a very sad thing for our country. It's poisoning the blood of our country.
That is Donald Trump saying that immigrants poison the blood of our country, which is pretty much a direct quote from Adolf Hitler. Now, when you hear that, you probably think, wow, that is obvious racism. But we went and asked MAGA fans across the country what they thought he meant by it, and you would be shocked at what they came up with.
Illegal immigration is poisoning the blood of the country. What does that mean to you?
It's just allowing for, I believe it's allowing more criminal activity to take place. You know, it's really important that people are vetted that come into the United States so that we don't have the terrorist activity that we've been looking at.
Kind of poisoning the pool instead of being in where they can make the same wage as everybody else. Some of them are undercutting that.
There's a crisis across the board of things. So there's lots of innocent people being hurt in that process. But I also watched men of fighting age lined up, getting their little bus ticket to go wherever they were going. And to me, that's definitely not the best strategy.
Donald Trump said recently that the illegal immigration is poisoning the blood of the country. What does that mean?
Like they closed down school in New York to put immigrants in, so the children are having to study online now. And
listen, I understand people hate immigrants because of this stuff. Well, I don't get this one. I don't understand penning immigrants because of Zoom classes. But it was very difficult to get people to admit that poisoning blood had anything to do with race mixing or white supremacy. We had to go all the way to Iowa, and the closest we got to someone referencing World War II-y stuff was this Paisley gentleman.
Well, I think all the other countries have already been through this. It's replacement of us all.
Why is the right answer always the wrongest?
The border's gone. If you watch the footage, it's all men.
No, for jobs, though.
No, they're coming to kill us.
Ah, great, thank you. When I saw the Grateful Dead pin, I thought you liked their music. Turns out you just like the word dead.
Well, it's a global thing. They've already came to all the other countries doing this. I mean, this is happening in Germany and, you know, France.
Okay, before this guy suggests we invade Poland, let's talk about something very interesting at play here. Like, there's always gonna be guys like this who hear Trump say,
it's poisoning the blood of our country,
and then go, yes, we are all being literal. Hooray-ism. But why are all these people who leave the house looking semi-normal not distancing themselves from a Hitler quote? Well, there's an answer, and it's that right-wing media and politicians are spending hours and hours every day telling these folks that it's not the Republicans who are racist, it's actually the Democrats who are racist against white people.
One of the most depressing things about Democrats today, they're very comfortable discriminating based on race.
When did racism against white people become okay?
They hate white people because white people are successful and they're not.
It's all part of the new brainwash. If you're white, you're evil by birth.
Yeah, you're not surprised. It's always the same people, isn't it? Those white Republican men. The very ones that just today Joe Biden warned us are more dangerous than ISIS.
They target white people because it gives them street cred.
Who told you that? You all right? I learned it by watching you. So why is this happening? Why are right-wing media figures telling white people, many of whom are angry at others based solely on the color of their skin, that it's actually someone else who's being racist? And for an explanation of this weaponization, why don't we turn to someone who experienced it firsthand, President Obama.
I also think that there are certain right-wing media venues, for example, that monetize and capitalize on stoking the fear and resentment of a white population that is witnessing a changing America and seeing demographic changes and do everything they can to give people a sense that their way of life is threatened and that people are trying to take advantage of them.
Thanks, Obama. So what you end up having is people who are white in America and aren't having a very good time. And they blame non-whites for their problems. And add into that a 24-hour news cycle of folks saying, you're right. Yes, the technical definition of what you're doing is white supremacy, but you're actually being patriotic and they're being an asshole. What does that turn into? Please enjoy.
Everyone's called a white supremacist. I'm sorry, but we're not white supremacists. Well, I guess I'm not. Yes, I am, because the term nowadays, white supremacist, means you're a patriot. So I have a sign that I do carry sometimes, and I say proud white supremacist.
But I'm not one, even though my sign says that thing. Way to go, Fox News. God, it's so weird. It's so weird to say that the other side's being racist while you're the one who's saying, like, but brown people will ruin this country. It's just that they are criminal, terrorist, wage pool thieving men of fighting age on buses who want to murder everyone in my Zoom class. I still don't get that one.
I lived in a very wealthy part of St. Louis, like a rich county that was predominantly white. And then they did inner city busing from East St. Louis into this. And so I remember being like in elementary school and asking my mom, like, I know that we're supposed to believe that people with different skin colors are the same, but like these people are clearly not the same as us. And my mom was like, do not let anybody hear you say that.
Wow.
And it didn't occur to me until years later that I was kind of on it when I was 8 or 9, you know?
Okay, this is a juicy one because I'm from St. Louis and this lady's from St. Louis. So that's why I'm extra excited about this. Because, when I was a little girl, we used to have these dirty black people from East St. Louis, which is a pretty rough area, come into my wealthy area of St. Louis to integrate the schools. And then it's like, okay, so from that point in time, maybe what were you, like 7, 8 years old, whatever. From that point in time until now, you're at least in your 40s or something around there, at least, 40s, maybe early 50s or something like that. You haven't learned to understand that many of the conditions that create the things that you're judging these people for are just from poverty. As if you can't go to some trailer park and find a whole bunch of hillbilly country bumpkin white folk with a whole bunch of black teeth because they smoking meth all day long who are in and out of jail. Why? Because there's no opportunities around them, because they live in a poor environment. Again, so it's always so hilarious to see this type of stuff where it's like they associate criminal activity with, black skin. But all you got to do is go to a trailer park. Again, I'm from St. Louis and I can point you to the direction of plenty of poor, crime-ridden white folk.
Your experience with this busing program reminds me of something that Robert Patterson once said. He was the founder of the White Citizens Council in the 1960s. It was set up to fight school integration and residential integration. And he said, the sure cure for integration fever is a stiff dose of Negroes, except he didn't use the word Negro.
Oh, Lord.
In any case, yes, it should be. You see, that's the thing. A stiff dose of blacks really should cure anyone of his illusions about it.
And then Jared Taylor thinks because he's talking in a calm and smooth, collected voice that he sounds like Bob Ross, the painter. He's just doing like his racist rants. He's painting his men in the robes and the Klansmen. You know what I'm saying? And lynching somebody after church and the celebration. Like, look at this beautiful painting of this very Christ-like activity outside of the church, outside the tabernacle. But he's like, all you need is a healthy dose of blacks to see what they're all about. But again, okay, well, what about a healthy dose of poor whites or rich white people? Look at, what the top executives of the big banks are doing, have been doing. Look at what the head oil executives are doing. Are any of those people black? Maybe one of them. I don't know who that person may be, so that's a good indication that they're pretty much all white. What about them arbitrarily raising gas prices, even though they don't need to be as high as they've been? Oil prices are dropping for them, but gas prices keep rising for us. That's white people doing that. How about them? Oh, well, they have suits and ties on, so it's acceptable. And, guys like Jared, he's the type of white guy who's never been around anyone other than other racist white people in his life. Why does he feel so insecure? Probably because he's lacking culture. Probably because he ain't got no swag. Probably because he's just a scared little man.